The ECB does lower its deposit rate facility to negative 50 basis points, so that is 1/10 of 1% cut. That was widely expected by the market. Many, though, have been also expecting a 20 basis point cut. We didn't get that. We only got 10. So no surprise there. You're seeing the euro move higher. It also changes its guidance on its interest rate policy. That was one of the tools, though, not the really sexy tools that they could do, is to change their guidance, David.
Yeah. Well, part of the question is, though, also inflation expectations, and the question is what sort of guidance are they giving out in the out years? And
they did restart QE. They're going to buy 20 billion euros of debt a month from November 1st, and they're going to buy bonds as long as needed, and they announced their tiering system. So they did it all.
So there you have it.
They changed their guidance. They're doing QE. They announced tiering, and they cut the deposit rate by 1/10 of 1%.
As long as it's needed. So that was one of the key issues we were looking at if they started QE. So now let's go over to Matt Miller, our colleague in Frankfurt. Matt, give us your take.
Well, I think it's interesting that the amount of quantitative easing they're committing to is less than the Street's estimate and far less than the Bloomberg estimate. We were looking for 45 billion a month for a year. The Street was looking for 30 billion a month in a survey of economists that we did. They're only going to do 20 billion a month, and they're not going to start until November 1st. Bloomberg was expecting them to kick it off starting October 1st. So it's a little bit less than expected in both the size and also in terms of the timing, in terms of the schedule. In terms of the deposit rate cut, it's interesting they went with the Street's estimate of 10 basis points. And, Alex was talking a little bit earlier about the cost to banks. So I looked into BI Go. I typed on my terminal and found the Bloomberg Intelligence story that I think she was referring to. There's about 2 trillion euros of excess reserves being held by European banks at the ECB. And so the negative 40 basis points already is a 7 billion euro drag every year on these banks. That's going to get worse depending on how deep this tiering goes. Analysts have been asking for 35 to 50%. So we'll see how the tiering details pan out in the statement and in the conference.